Well, and welcome to the Go Spurs Go Memes podcast number 14, live but recorded from the Go Spurs Go Memes Network studios. I am your host, Ray. This morning I am joined by our normal crew of characters, Buddy the engineer on the soundboard. I got Frank the producer on the mic to the right of me, and I'd like to welcome back Jack the intern to the left of me. Jack, we haven't seen you in a couple weeks, buddy. How are you?
It has been a couple weeks. I'm doing well. Great time of year. Thanks for some of those paid time off days.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
That's what Go Spurs Go Memes does.
Yeah.
Guaranteed vacation and health care. Thank you, Obama. So what's been up, Jack? What have you been doing?
Oh, just same old, same old. I had a friend pass away, which was one weekend. And then,
condolences, of course.
Yeah, things happen. And
yep.
We're all doing all right with it. But, it's going all right.
Good.
My favorite time of year.
Yeah, it is. Football,
food.
Thanksgiving just passed.
Yeah.
Time for Christmas. Yes, good freaking times.
Good stuff.
Frank, how are you, my friend? Good morning.
I am doing quite well. Well, it seems like I haven't seen you in a few hours.
It's true. So yesterday, Frank and I did decide to go over to the Alamo Dome and watch the amazing UTSA Roadrunners take on the Middle Tennessee Flying Pegasus. Yeah, so that was an experience, wouldn't you say, Frank?
Oh, it was fantastic. I wasn't really paying attention to much of the game because it got less entertaining now that my daughter was there.
Right.
She even found it more entertaining to be playing with like seats and eating cotton candy and things like that.
It's true because, once it went up like 21-0 and UTSA was down, Frank and I just kind of stopped watching the game and just started making fun of everything.
We literally were watching birds.
It really was.
In the Alamo Dome, which, those birds, if you've ever been there, you know what birds we're talking about.
Yeah, so that was more entertaining, I think, than even watching that game because that game was just horribly bad. And I think Frank put it very well yesterday when he said, there's been people that have been cut from this team.
Yeah, that's the best. These are the best, the cream of the crop. I mean, here it is. But
yeah, it was just a bad thing. I mean, the entire dome was pretty much empty.
Yeah,
it seats 65,000, and I'd say maybe 5, if that.
I was surprised because the last time we went, we went in a suite and they played OSU, Oklahoma State. And it was quite full there. And I don't know if it was because people wanted to see Oklahoma State, but and that was about 2 years ago, I think, when they played in there.
Yeah.
And this year, I mean, we came up there and we had trouble finding our seats. But the funny thing about it really didn't matter.
It didn't really matter where you were sitting. You could sit wherever you wanted.
It blew everywhere.
It
was really surprising, to be honest.
Yeah, it's true. All right, well, I think, guys, it's time to do the news. All right, so let's see what's going on in the world of the NBA. So Jason Kidd was suspended 1 game for aggressively pushing and confronting ref Zach Zarba Wednesday during the Kings game. Kidd also slapped the ball out of the ref's hands and did not leave in a timely manner after being ejected. He did already serve that 1-game sentence, I should say. The National Basketball Referees Association issued a statement angry that Mike Budenholzer wasn't suspended for physical contact with an official. So basically, he was upset about a call. He basically bumped a ref, and he wasn't suspended. The NBA didn't even mention it whatsoever. And, of course, the Coaches Association came back and went off on the Ref Association as well. So kind of funny to see that go in there, but nothing happened. The Phoenix Suns did sign Bryce Cotton from the Austin Spurs in the D-League. Cotton has just been absolutely amazing for the Spurs. And, of course, the Spurs did lose the rights to Bryce Cotton. That's why Phoenix was able to come in and swoop him up, which is really sad because Cotton was a legit guard. Evan Fournier rejected a 4-year, $32 million contract extension with the Orlando Magic. Brian Windhurst believes that LeBron James has Warrior paranoia. He is more concerned about winning regular season games than before due to the Warriors' 17-0 start. What do you guys think about that Warrior paranoia?
Well, for one thing, LeBron, you're in the East. You're going to make the finals no matter what. He literally just took him in the finals. That was all him. So,
right.
But what do I think about the Warriors' paranoia?
Paranoia. Not paranormal. There's no ghosts.
It's really early today. It might as well be in some teams. But with them, I would have to say it's just, why does it matter? We live in the day and age, especially like with the Spurs, with Popovich resting Tim Duncan and Ginobili and stuff, and make national news for some reason. But I am sick and tired of listening to the Warriors.
I know. Now it's the new fan thing for ESPN.
Yeah, exactly. If you hear it on ESPN, they are literally the pop type of culture when it comes to sports culture and everything.
Right.
Remember 3 weeks ago when we sat here and were worried that Steve Kerr was going to take a leave of absence? And we're like, well, they can struggle early in the season. They'll get it together later in the season. And I'm reading this article right now that's saying, I guess just the way it's been worded or whatever, they haven't credited Luke Walton with any of these wins.
And they're supposed to. I saw the same thing.
And now they're looking that they're going to, most likely.
And, I think that makes most sense. I mean, Walton is the coach, even though most of us dislike him. But, I think the win should go under him, not Kerr.
Right.
I just think that makes sense. Anywho, let's see. After the loss to the Raptors, the Cavs actually held a player-only meeting, and that's basically where LeBron James just basically bitched out everybody. He just went into that room and just started yelling about everyone's effort, yada yada yada. And I think if I'm not mistaken, the Cavs lost by like 4 points to the Raptors in Toronto. The Warriors are actually ahead of the 72 win pace of the 95-96 Chicago Bulls. And, the only thing I have to say about that is that I think the 95-96 season for the Bulls, there were more teams that were competitive than what we're seeing right now, especially if you look at, how the West has been dominating everything. The teams in the East actually have better records than the teams in the West. So that's one thing to kind of keep in mind there.
I'm just wondering whether or not it's people not trying to. I mean, eventually you would have to assume that people are going to figure out this offense and defend it fairly efficiently. I mean, I've been reading things about the whole Hackakuri. If you can get him on the line, he's not beating you on the threes, and
right.
You're going to see different strategies that come up. I mean, it is a long season. Yes, they're on pace for over 70 wins. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
However, it only counts when you're in the playoffs.
Exactly. Yeah. It's very, very true. I mean, they can get that number 1 seed, as did the Seattle Sonics back when number 8 seeded Denver Nuggets beat them. So we'll see what happens there. Jahlil Okafor punched a man outside of a Boston nightclub. Apparently what was shouted at him was, the 76ers suck and you guys are all losers. You'll never win a game. The truth hurts, doesn't it?
Hurt someone.
Yeah, so the TMZ did actually get video where you can actually hear Okafor shouting back, "We got money, you broke ass," with a racial slur at the end of that. I don't think the NBA has done anything to him just yet, but they are aware of it.
I think Okafor hates being there.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see what's actually going to happen there. It happened this past week. So I want to see if the NBA is actually going to do something to him, but somebody about to get sued. That's all I'm saying. Amari Stoudemire is actually taking classes now to possibly become a sports agent. That's one of the things that the NBA Players Association actually does for NBA stars that are getting close to the end of their career. They actually do classes for them to become sports agents, sportscasters, things like that. Sportscasters. Jesus,
that's amazing.
It's amazing. Twice the satisfaction.
Any job placement?
They don't do any job placement, but they do get them ready to go into that career. And I know Matt Bonner's really big into that, to be a sportscaster.
He should be.
Yeah, he should be soon, like by January, hopefully. Ben Simmons, remember that name? That is a kid from LSU that's considered to be the number 1 draft pick in the 2016 NBA draft. The kid is just legit. I don't know if you guys have been watching any college ball.
No, I don't watch college ball.
Basketball. We will be watching college basketball very soon. Once college football ends, of course, we're not going to be talking about it anymore, but we will integrate college basketball into it as we get ready to get closer to the draft and kind of see what's going on there. And I think what we're also going to do is we're going to do a Go Spurs Go Memes brackets in March.
Yes.
That anyone on Go Spurs Go Memes can play, and we can maybe we'll get a sponsor for a prize and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. Buddy has a wallet that's itching to give away money, so we'll see what happens there. Pop needs only 8 more wins to move past Rick Adelman into the number 8 spot on the NBA's career coaching win list. So that's pretty cool. So we'll be hitting a record breaker pretty soon, I think, for the Spurs. Spurs play the Bulls on Monday. The Bulls aren't doing that great, but they're not doing that bad either. And I just at the end of this little news report, I just kind of want to go over the current standings right now in both the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. So right now in the East, your top 8 teams are the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Chicago Bulls, Indiana Pacers, Miami Heat, Toronto Raptors, Charlotte Hornets, Atlanta Hawks, and the Detroit Pistons. Any surprises there?
No, I don't see any surprises on there. I mean, this is highly expected of what happened last year, and it's all straight ahead forward.
Yeah, I actually thought the Raptors would be doing a whole lot better than they are. I think they're around like 10-6 right now, 11-6 right now. I'm kind of surprised that you see Charlotte there, but I mean, it's the East; anything can happen there. The West, of course, you have the Golden State Warriors at undefeated. They're number one in the West, followed by your San Antonio Spurs. The Oklahoma City Thunder are third, followed by Memphis, then Dallas, Utah, Phoenix, and then the Clippers are eighth place right now. And
two surprises, Dallas, but the Clippers. I mean, it seems like they can't even buy a win right now.
No, they have no chemistry. They have. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I mean, you watch them play, and you're just like, really? You have all this talent, and you're not doing a damn thing with it.
I think they were a bit hard with the Golden State loss. Where they were up by 20,
Yeah.
and then they blew that whole lead. And the funny thing about that, it seems like they haven't recovered from that. It's like something's gotten in their head, and it's just they were really, really, really damaged from that. So it's going to be. I want to see. I think they do have the strength to just overcome this, though. But we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see what happens there. But yeah, I am also surprised with the Dallas Mavericks. This was supposed to be a rebuilding year for them. Oh yeah, it's true. Where is Houston?
11th.
Yes, that's true. They're right at the bottom
two
there.
games back at 8th.
Yeah. So and they look horrible too when you see the Rockets play. I mean, Harden's still Harden. He's the one scoring all the points. I think he dropped 50 last night, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, the team again, that's another team that just has no chemistry there. So I don't even know if the Rockets are going to make the playoffs. And I mean, I think the same can be said of the Clippers.
It's a long season. We're early into it,
Yeah.
and anything can happen. I mean, they could find their chemistry, find their shot, find something to propel them to the playoffs. And I'm going to leave that open, especially for those two teams. I wouldn't be surprised if the Clippers find their edge and finally make it.
They should, because I mean,
as a
they're
third
well
seed or
coached.
something like that.
It's just the players getting on board with each other and bringing wins to the Staples Center. I mean, that's really it. And of course, speaking of Staples Center, the Lakers are at the bottom of the West. Woohoo! That's always a good thing. All right, guys, that's the news. We'll be back in a bit. And we're back, and it's time to talk Spurs basketball. I am joined by Buddy the engineer. Jack the intern is still here as well. Jack will chime in when he sees something interesting in the stat lines. Buddy, how are you, my friend?
Very good, sir. I was just trying to wake up still. Coffee hasn't kicked in yet, but I'm doing good.
Exactly. Thank you for the cup of coffee, by the way.
Not a problem at all.
Appreciate that. So, Buddy, let's go through the games. We had a lot of Spurs games this week. We'll start off with the Spurs and the Suns. The Spurs were victorious, won 98-84. Again, another home victory. Let's see, just looking at the stats line real quick, the Suns shot 46%, were 37% from the three-point line. They had 15 fast break points and were able to score 38 points in the paint. I still don't like that. I still think that people are getting to the basket too easily against the Spurs. 28 turnovers and 27 points scored off of those turnovers. As for the Spurs, we shot 51%, which was amazing, 45% from threes. We had 16 fast break points, so we did beat the Suns on that, and we had 46 points in the paint. We also beat the Suns on that. We had 21 turnovers for 18 points off of those turnovers. What'd you see in the game, buddy?
They're starting to pick up the rhythm a little bit in the defensive side. I know you're a little bit concerned on the interior defense overall, but I mean, and I was talking to Jack about this a little bit offline a little bit. The Spurs right now are the top defensive team as far as points per game in the league right now. Right. So I can deal with, being the top. That's the thing to me that's the most important, is if the defense is solid to where you're keeping the points low, then our offensive woes can sort of take a back burner to that. So you could see it how we were able to stop people like, for instance, Morris didn't do all that great in this game, I don't think.
No.
And I don't even think Bledsoe really played all that great in the game either. I'm not sure exactly.
I don't think Bledsoe played, to be honest with you.
Check on that
Let's see, Morris did have 28 points for that
played
game.
really well. Forget that.
So he was the one that actually did well for the Suns. Brandon Knight did really well as well. So it was actually
Knight
those
is the
two.
one. Knight is the one you can't do.
Yeah,
anything
exactly.
About.
Like
Forget
there's
it,
nothing you can do about those two. But those are really the only two guys that actually did anything for the Suns. Who is the other guy?
T.J. Warren off the bench.
Warren, there you
Yes,
go. Warren off the
Warren.
bench had 16 points, and that was really it for the Suns. For the Spurs. I was happy to see Tony Parker.
Yes.
I think he's been listening to you and I complain about him, buddy.
He must have known.
Because he has just completely put it into another gear.
Yes.
His defense is better. He's actually getting to the basket. He's beating players. His transitional D still is sketchy.
Right.
We're still seeing that, but I mean, he's starting to hit his shots. He went 10 for 13 for 20 points. I mean, I was very impressed with him. And again, he's leading the team in assists again. He had 8 assists that night. Nothing but positives for Tony Parker. Kawhi was Kawhi, 24 points, 11 of 18 field goals, 13 rebounds. I mean, what can't Kawhi do?
He's been phenomenal. I mean, they're already starting to talk about him as an MVP candidate and things like that. Again, too early in the season, but I'm glad that the talk's going on there. Maybe now he can make his first All-Star game now.
Well, maybe so, yeah.
And so, to me, I think he's just coming into his own real well, and so I'm very happy about his play overall.
Yeah, and Danny Green did well as well.
Icy
he
Hot.
had Icy Hot was 4 of 9 from threes. He threw in 18 points as well. I mean, again, Danny Green, my big concern with him is his defense, but if he can spot up and hit those threes, I'll be happy,
Yes.
and that's what he's doing. So, great game for the Spurs. What else happened in this game? We did have Patty Mills come off the bench for 10 points. Patty hit some good threes. He was 2 of 5 from threes. But, I mean, all around, it was a pretty good Spurs game. I guess let's go to the next game.
So the next game was going to be the Mavericks. Spurs won that one, of course, here at home, 88-83. Spurs now overall at home are perfect still, so we haven't got into that because of the Atlanta Hawks game. So the Spurs in this game were led by Kawhi Leonard with 26 points. He was 9 of 16 in the game, 4 of 7 from threes. His 3-point efficiency for this last week has been off the charts, which you will hear more about later. He also had 8 rebounds in this game, and he pretty much took over the game at the end there. If we're looking at overall team stats over here, the Mavericks shot 41% in this game at 27.3% in 3-point, so they didn't shoot all that well in the game at all.
No.
Their top scorer in the game was going to be Wesley Matthews, and of course Wesley Matthews chunks up the most shots out of anybody in the
Right.
game. He chunked up 16 shots along with Darren Williams, who was an awful 4 of 16 in the game, and he only for 8 points. And it's so strange now, I'm trying to get used to the fact that Nowitzki isn't the offensive focal point anymore.
No, not at all. It's not about him.
He only had 8 shots in this game. I
That's
mean,
crazy.
how often would you ever hear that Nowitzki only had 8 shots in a game?
It's crazy that you say that too, because his percentage of hitting his shots is really, really high compared to last year. I think he actually leads the league in improvement from last year to this year. But like you just said, he's not really taking that many shots, but he's hitting what he's taking.
Yeah, and he's deferring, I guess, more to the other parts, and he's probably seeing the fact that if they're more well-rounded to where he's not getting the ball as much as everybody else would be getting it, maybe they could be a little bit better, but their record doesn't really indicate that much, although they are one of the surprises of the West.
They really are. A complete surprise there. Everybody thought this would be a rebuilding year, lottery team, but they're actually doing really well.
And they're competing.
And they're competing with teams, yeah. I mean, so good for the Mavericks, but even better that the Spurs beat them.
And then the Spurs in this game also shot, honestly, ironically enough, even though they won the game, they shot 40% in the game and 28.6% from threes. But again, you had the big performance by Leonard for 26. You had Aldridge, who had 18 in the game. He also had 7 rebounds in the game. And you had Tony Parker, again, having a solid game. He's 7 for 11 with 16 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists, which is a fantastic stat line for him.
I'm telling you.
He outplayed Darren Williams, truthfully, he's always had a very good line on Darren Williams. Darren Williams is real big for Parker, so it's sort of hard for him to keep up with him overall. But Darren Williams is a shell of himself, of course.
Exactly.
So that's one of the big things. Bench didn't play fantastically well. Manu was leading the bench with 9 points, but he was 2 of 12 in the game, which is awful. But, of course, Manu does his thing, though. He has 5 points, 3 assists. So, he does all the little things to keep them in the game. Points in the paint, now here's the thing that you're worried about. So the Mavericks beat the Spurs in points in the paint 42-24. Which
See what I mean?
That's a pretty
big
bad
concern
one.
to me, yeah.
Also, the Mavericks had 13 fast break points as opposed to 10. And also they had 13 turnovers with Mavericks, and we had 14 turnovers. Turnovers to me right now is the biggest concern as far as the Spurs are concerned. They're turning over the ball somewhere around the 15 to 16 game, which is pretty bad.
Yeah.
I'll have to check with Jack the intern on this one because I'm not sure exactly where they rank, but it's somewhere near the bottom of the league. But overall, they still hung in there despite shooting badly, in which they keep running into this issue during the year where they're shooting badly and they have to sort of make up for it at the end, either with good defensive stops or have Leonard save them.
Exactly.
So at this point, this is one of those games where Leonard basically saved them at the end.
Very true, very true. Okay, let's go to the next game. This was Denver at the Nuggets. Spurs win 91-80, doing pretty good on the road. After this game, Spurs are 5-3 on the road. Let's see the positive stuff for the Spurs. We shot 48% from field goals, 36% 3 points. We only had 8 fast break points in this game, 28 points in the paint. We had 19 turnovers, and we gave up 18 points due to those turnovers. The Nuggets really just had a very poor night, only 13 fast break points. They did, however, have 40 points in the paint. Again, concern of mine. 18 turnovers, and we scored 15 points off of that. But the Nuggets shooting was pretty bad. They shot about 40%, 35% from 3 points. It was Gallinari that basically did everything for the Nuggets in this game. The previous game, the Spurs pretty much shut him down, but this game he was able to get some more shots. Moutier also threw in another 9 points. Their bench, I think, was a little bit better than their starters. Barton and Nilsson also threw in 12 points apiece. As for the Spurs, it was the first recorded start for Boban
Marjanovic,
which was very, very exciting to see him out there.
And he was awful. Good Lord, he was awful. They kept him in there like at 6-7 minutes, and then Popovich said, "Okay, I'm done."
Yeah, he had 4 rebounds. His points came off of free throws, but it was
He's
really
a great
exciting.
free throw shooter.
He
I have to
really
say,
is.
I was watching. He's like really
God.
sitting there thinking about the shot, and he's just like.
Yeah,
It takes him like 20 hours to shoot it.
I think my favorite thing about seeing Boban go out there is that the look on the other players' faces when they see him, that's the best part. I mean, just put him out there just to freak people out.
The Tyler Hansbrough face.
Exactly. I mean, it's just so damn funny to see people's faces. Kawhi had another All-Star night, 25 points, 6 assists, 7 rebounds. Aldridge threw in 8 points. Parker, again, did really well, 6 of 7 with his shots. He hit a three-pointer, and he threw in 13 points for the Spurs. Danny Green, 3 of 6 from 3 points, also threw in 9. And then the big surprise of the night was Jonathan Simmons off the bench for 12 points. He really came alive, but there was a lot of sloppy play by Simmons.
He was a better game in the second half than he was in the first half. The first half, I remember texting you during the game.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm done with
I'm done with him.
Bring Butler in now. God, it was awful. He was awful in the first half. He came back and had the better game in the second half. That was his best game of the season so far.
Yeah, so it was nice to see. And then, of course, I think because he did well, he did get to play last night in the Atlanta game. So, again, Spurs, what was the final
It was
score?
also to note in this game that Duncan and Ginobili sat this game out for rest. So that's why we had some more of the bench playing, like West. Marjanovic started, and then I think West played a little bit more minutes than he usually does in this game, too.
Yeah, and Bonner played in this one, too, which I was kind of surprised to see him. But, again, with Ginobili and Duncan being out there, it did give some time for Matt Bonner. He didn't do anything, but he played 4 minutes, so good for him. It was just cleanup duty for him. All right, on to the next game, buddy.
Yes, sir. So last night, which was Saturday, of course, Spurs won 108-88 against the Atlanta Hawks. Again, that was a straight romp. It wasn't
really
a romp
was.
from the very get-go. Like the first half, they were hanging half and half with them, and then when it hit the third quarter, that's when it started turning into a romp overall. Leonard scored 22 in this game. Also, they were on lockdown. Now, we're talking about the interior defense again, okay? I saw Aldridge in this game last night, and to me, he seemed very, very actively defensively.
Oh, he was everywhere.
He was
Yeah.
aggressive last night. He was swatting shots, swatting arms, swatting faces. I mean, he was just all over the place last night.
And I don't know if you noticed this too, buddy, but like times where the ball got away from him and it was a turnover, he rushed down there and tried to swat balls away. Like it was really awesome to see him everywhere.
He was very, very
very
active.
aggressive.
And I'm thinking that maybe Popovich is starting to say to him, hey, look, you know what? I know you're a great offensive player, even though you're only averaging 14 points right now at this point. Now I'm going to challenge you defensively, right? You and Duncan can make a solid interior defense. And it's not the worst ever. Granted, I mean, we understand that the points in the paint is still pretty high, and I agree with you on this point. But I also think in a lot of ways that some of the guard play as well, like if we talked about this with Parker in particular, right? If Parker's getting beat off of dribbles a lot, or if they're playing guards that are like particularly troublesome for them, I mean, you can't leave everything to Duncan or to Aldridge to have to defend. They have to get better in order to make up some of that slack, and so it doesn't all land on just the interior defense. But overall in the game, Hawks shot 42% with 23% from the three-point range. They were led in scoring by, of all people, Mike Scott, the tattooed wonder. He was off the bench, but everybody else had a pretty bad game. Millsap only had 8 points, and I think Millsap only had those 8 points in the first quarter. I don't even think he scored after the first quarter.
Horford only had 10.
Yeah, he was awful. He was 4 of 11. Teague didn't even play that great. And I honestly, that's the game to me that Parker would have the trouble with. Teague is one of those guys who can give somebody like Parker problems.
Oh, a ton, and he didn't. I was very surprised by that.
Yeah, he was 2 of 10. I think in the preseason game, I think Teague straight up torched Parker. I think, but in this game, he was awful. He was only 2 for 10. He had 6 points in the game. And Korver, the guy who you really worry about with the 3-pointer, he didn't have any 3-pointers in this game. He only had 6 points in the game overall.
And he only took 1 shot from 3. That's crazy.
Real shocking. Like I said, it's sort of weird how you see them. Like, I mean, you're talking about a guy like Cephalosha who's getting 3-pointers, but yet you only have Korver. But they probably, it was a testament to the way that probably Leonard was playing defense on him.
Oh, the defense. Yeah, I mean, the Spurs just completely shut down the Hawks. So I mean, there was no way they were going to get clear looks at a 3-point shot. So
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
But
Spurs shot 47% in this game, but they also had fantastic 3-point shooting night. They shot almost 53% in the game, which is fantastic. Again, Leonard was 3 for 3 in this game. You also had Patty Mills was 3 for 4 in threes. You did have Ginobili as 0 for 4 on that, so he's losing a little bit of 3-point touch lately. I've noticed that his 3-pointers have been going in lately.
No.
He's losing a little bit of 3-point touch, but I'm okay with that. Leonard led them in scoring with 22 points. Aldridge had a pretty solid night. He had 13 points on 6 of 15 shooting with 6 rebounds and 2 blocks and 3 steals. So a pretty solid night for him overall. And off the bench, they were led by, again, Patty Mills. He played 20 minutes. He was 5 for 6. He seems to have regained his shooting touch, so I'm very happy about that.
Very happy to see that.
And again, turnovers. Now, I think the Spurs forced a lot of turnovers with Atlanta in this game. So they had 18 turnovers overall. They had 21 points off of turnovers as well, which is a great stat for them.
Yes.
To answer your question before, Spurs have the 12th most turnovers. It doesn't give me a per game. It's 252 for the year. The league average is 248, so they're pretty average.
It's pretty average.
Given 17 games, 252s, a little over 15 turnovers a game.
That's one of Popovich's biggest sticking points is that he really hates the turnovers. He always talks about
if you notice, the game starts off and it's just kind of sloppy.
Yeah, it's real sloppy.
And we were kind of talking about that. Is that if you notice right now the way the Spurs are playing, that it's still sloppy, they're still very uncomfortable. But man, are they kicking butt?
Oh yeah.
And I mean, that's the scary thing is that once this team, we're only, we're less than 20 games in, and once this team really starts to gel, everyone gets comfortable with what their role is. This team is going to be freaking scary.
I think that we need to learn to play. We need to make people play our game.
Right.
I think we're having to. A lot of people are thinking about the whole Warrior thing. For instance, we've been talking about this over and over again, right? But I don't think that we have to play that game. If the interior defense gets solid, maybe we can change the conversation, and then where we make it to where they have to play our style as opposed to we have to play their style.
And I actually think the Spurs are causing other teams to play our game because the games are much slower. They are not fast paced. But at the same time, if you look at scoring, the last 5 games, we've held people under 90 points.
I mean, you would think the Hawks, for instance.
Yeah,
the Hawks
exactly.
They're a small team by default, right? Interiorly, they're not a big team. So, I mean, you knew that they were going to already have. Why do not pound it to Aldridge? Pound it to Duncan. There's nobody that can defend them if they use them efficiently. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then you could see it. Horford just had no answer for Duncan. Millsap had no answer for Aldridge. There just wasn't anything really that could be done with them. And so if we get to be playing that game as opposed to this thing where we're running around like chicken with our head cut off, then I'm all for that.
Yeah, I mean, because just looking at the last couple of games that we've had here, everyone's been held under 90 points. The only time that somebody scored over 90 was the Pelicans, and we lost that game. So, I mean, that's just a really testament to what the Spurs are doing right now. But I'm saying this right now, as soon as they get more comfortable, this team is going to be just scary good. They're starting to get really good right now, but they haven't hit that scary level yet, but that scary level is coming very soon. Buddy, Jack, thanks so much for talking Spurs with me. We'll be back in just a bit.
Dust in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind.
And we're back. All right, guys. Right now, I just want to kind of do a segment to kind of talk about something that I'm starting to notice. I don't know if you guys notice it, but I put this up on Go Spurs Go memes. I just kind of wanted to talk about all the empty seats that we're seeing now at Spurs games. We know that season tickets are completely sold out. We know that most Spurs games are completely sold out. But when the Spurs are playing a game, you'll notice that you see a lot of silver, a lot of gray, empty seats at the AT&T Center. What's the reason for it? What's going on there?
Well, it's not a UTSA game for one thing. But the thing about it is, I've noticed it too. I mean, it's so bad that it's gotten to the point where I'm like, all of a sudden, when did we turn to Miami? I mean, just where people showing up late and everything. And I know that's not the case because parking is hard to find when you're there. So people are there. So that means they're either inside, and they're just coming in, gradually. Maybe at some point we are essentially just spoiled with this team. We've taken them for granted and kind of like the greatness that we're seeing. I mean, this is a year where we're seeing a whole bunch of records being broken, Popovich, Tim Duncan, the trio, and everything else like that. And it just creates this image that we don't give a damn. It's really upsetting, for fans who sit at home, can't afford tickets and see this stuff. Because, if you're not going to take those seats, I know a whole lot of people who are willing to take that for you.
And I do want to, I will mention some comments that were made on the Facebook page about this because I think a lot of people are noticing it, and they also kind of have their own views on that. Buddy, what do you think about all this?
I mean, I think a lot of it is I don't know. One of the things that I'm speculating, and this is, again, pure speculation, is that I think maybe a lot more corporations are buying the tickets, like as far as the extra tickets, maybe like even having season tickets for the game overall. They give them as giveaways within the companies, but then a lot of the people don't show up.
But that's the thing.
So, for instance, I mean, you guys know that I work for a company. They give us games, tickets every so often. But I know some people don't go to those games.
But usually get like nosebleeds, right? Like it's way up in the top there.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't know. It might just be pure speculation.
Well, because what I'm talking about, just to clarify, what I'm talking about are lower level seats, the expensive tickets.
Things you see on TV.
The seats that you're going to see on TV. I mean, hell, I've seen pictures of the upper levels that look really, really empty when the Spurs are shooting a free throw and stuff. But, that's the upper levels. It's uncomfortable up there. You feel like you're going to die if you sneeze. You know what I mean? I get it. A lot of people don't like the way that those seats are up there. There's no room. You feel like you're going to fall. So I can understand why people won't sit up there, even though we know that all the Spurs games are sold out. I get it when people don't want to sit up there. But I'm talking about the lower levels, a couple of rows away from the floor, and all you see are seats.
And it has something to do with the fact that somebody's just straight up not showing up. We know that every game that we ever hear, we got another sellout. For instance, Jack just brought up the thing that we're averaging, we're 12th in the league in attendance overall. We're averaging 18,418 every game, right?
Yeah.
Now, my belief is that the holds 18 something.
It holds like 18,581.
Okay, so you know that if you're selling out 99.1% of the whole arena, right? But we know that 18,000 aren't there at that game. So somebody obviously bought the tickets and somebody obviously isn't showing up at this point. This is what I'm saying. So it's obviously some kind of like a social thing of like either they're not going for whatever reason that they don't want to go, or they just figure that it's just too early in the season and they're not going to spend that. They're going to spend that time at the thing. They can do something else. Like Saturday was college football night, for instance.
But you're also seeing something like in terms of the game, it's not like it's empty all the time. So it's pretty much towards the end of the game, or once the game starts getting going.
But like last night, we saw that during the second quarter.
It was like the second quarter.
No.
It was empty.
But I'm talking about it's like more so in the first quarter when the game starts. But then, like I said, just like Miami, you have empty seats. First quarter, second quarter they fill out a little bit more. Maybe by the half, everybody's there, and then all of a sudden it just starts to trickle. What I think honestly is that. And I've said this a lot, especially with a lot of sports venues and such, is that in terms of the stadium, they want people with a lot of money in there. That's how they make their money.
Right.
Unfortunately, these may not be the greatest hardcore fans that you can have.
Oh, not at all.
Wanting to watch these games. Either.
No, because this is exactly why blackouts and whiteouts don't work at the AT&T Center. It's because, you get this free T-shirt and they want everybody wearing them. But if you look at the lower levels, nobody's wearing them.
Yeah.
Nobody's wearing them because it's an elite social status to be in those chairs and to be down there. But you want to wear your own outfit because it's a way of showing off.
Right.
And so there is no unity there. There's no unified Spurs. And unless you look into the higher levels, That's where the fans are wearing all the T-shirts
And maybe that's
everything.
maybe a testament toward the way the Spurs have done marketing toward the lower level seats. For instance, that they've actually put those seats only to be able to be bought by the upper elite of society at this point, to where you don't have a true fan anymore that's actually in the lower levels anymore. You have somebody who just bought it, as you say.
Well,
it's just a
geez,
social
look
status
at a
thing.
Michigan game. Look at all your farm teams and stuff. I mean, these are fans who just want to go and see the
Just
sport.
want to go and see a sport.
And those are the people that I would love to see at the bottom part. Not to say that they don't exist, but it's almost like if especially in the business side of aspect of this. I mean, you said, from your end, buddy, about how a business will say, okay, we're going to give out these tickets up there. My experience is the same way as well. Is just you're working with clients and you say, here's some free tickets, to the game and stuff, and we'll talk business stuff. But a lot of times that also exists on the luxury boxes too, which is far and away though. It's not sitting up there. But then again, you do get 12 tickets and and if no one is showing up there, the problem I have is that it's more of a place of business to speak business other than watching the game. It's like the game is just that dirty thing that we all have to endure, at that level. And, I don't know if that's the case, but it certainly seems that way, especially when the concentration has been built on the expense of those tickets and how the only people who can afford them are maybe not fans.
Exactly. And then, too, the other thing I want to add in there is that, the AT&T Center is now renovated, which means there's brand new bars everywhere. They've put in new restaurants. This month is opening up the brand new Kiss restaurant at the AT&T Center, Rock and Brews, So there's a lot of things for people to do to spend money at the AT&T Center. So there's a lot of things for people to stay away from their seats from. But overall, the whole point why you're going to the AT&T Center is to see a Spurs game.
That's an interesting point too, because this is it sounds like it's centered around the fan itself, but it doesn't take any it doesn't take the image of the whole thing of the optics of it. If you have people, if you concentrate on the people's experience of being there, but not the experience of actually watching the game, I mean, of course that's going to affect you, especially on TV and when it comes to national games on there. It'd be very, very curious to see if this continues later on in the season.
Let's give another example about what we're talking about, the true fans not showing up, for instance.
Okay.
So, for instance, we're pulling up, Jack's pulling up an interesting stat here, right? Spurs playing the Bucks. They're going to be playing them on Wednesday, right? So a lower level seat right now, this is what we're talking about, like maybe how the change in the overall culture of how the Spurs have been marketing the seats have maybe changed to where they've put a bigger gap between the higher class and the people who are middle class, lower class who can buy tickets.
Right.
Lower level seat for that game, right, is going to be $250 according to StubHub right now, right? However, we look at an Atlanta Hawks at Oklahoma City Thunder, right? Now, mind you, Atlanta's a little bit better than what we're talking about, and Oklahoma's a good draw for them.
It is.
And again, you see their fans every game. They're dressed in all blue, all white, whatever colors they are on.
Right.
They're there every game. Lower level seat for this game, $171.
Wow.
So you're looking at disparity in cost of tickets, and maybe the cost of tickets rise has gone up. Which, if you're an upper crust pupper, $50, $100 isn't much for you.
Yeah,
but for people who are like middle class and stuff like that, that's a lot when you're considering it the season ticket round.
And I would throw in there because I'm assuming you're looking at StubHub, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I would normally say like, okay, it's resellers, they're going to bust up the price anyways, but that's true. But you would still see the same sort of ratio between cities because those resellers know what people are going to pay to go to those games for. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So if the Ticketmaster price is say $200, on StubHub they're $250. It'd be the same way. What you're seeing there with the Oklahoma City tickets. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The Ticketmaster prices, the original prices, are going to be similar. Add another $50 from the reseller, $75 if you wanted to, and that's what the reseller is going to make off of those tickets.
But couldn't this also be like a consequence as to the success of our team? I mean,
yes.
I mean, it certainly is. I mean, San Antonio, the Spurs organization, we can consider them an elite organization,
right?
In terms
Easy.
of championship, 5 championships, and everything else like that. We've got Hall of Famers that are playing right now, and it's a trio right there. But in essence, I think people have just taken that for granted. And who knows? Maybe in the future, and I hate to say this, like when things aren't as successful, will that mean more people in the seats because you're going to have to lower those prices now
They
to
will.
get more people
and
in there?
That's a perfect point.
You're right.
When Duncan's gone, if the Spurs ever start to, knock on wood, Kawhi gets hurt, Aldridge gets hurt, and the record drops and the team starts to struggle, you will start to see those ticket prices start to fall because people aren't going to be willing to pay Duncan prices to see a team without Kawhi or without Aldridge.
To see Okafor.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Exactly. It just brings up a really good point there. But, I don't know how to change that because I do think that it looks bad. And when you watch other NBA games, when you watch, the Golden State Warriors, that arena is completely full to the cut.
I mean, we had the Alamo Dome sold out and everything. And, I can't tell you how exciting that is, to have your first championship or be on the cusp of it. And I think maybe that's what they're experiencing. And who knows, because I don't know. I mean,
it could be. I mean, I'm thinking it might just be completely pricing, though. Truthfully, I mean, there's some truth to. So what Frank is saying, there is some truth to that. Yes, they did win a championship last year. However, there's not the culture of always winning. And then also, let's think about the arena of the Warriors looking at, right? The arena of the Warriors, it's old school arena. They've been fighting to get another arena. I think they are going to get.
They're going to get it. 2017, I think, is when it's supposed to open.
Now let's see if that actually comes up when the new arena comes up. If that same trend starts with that, because mind you, you're going to talk about a higher economic people having to afford those bottom seats when right now maybe they don't even cost that much there. And when you consider that where they're at, Golden State in particular is actually right now in the middle of like a Silicon Valley kind of thing. So you're having a lot of people who have a lot of money. A lot of the wealth of the United States right now is in that area. So you're going to have more people who have money going to those games, and it's a social thing now.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing: is that it's in Oakland, so it's not in the best.
Well, I mean,
part
it's not in the.
of
Yeah,
that
no,
area.
I mean, I'm not saying, but I'm talking about
where
near
it's
San
going,
Francisco, though. Is what I'm talking about,
where it's going though is it's going to Pier, San Francisco. It is going to be closer to what I would say is the wealthy Silicon Valley people, and so I'm assuming you will see those ticket prices go up. But what's the ongoing trend in arena, and we talked about this weeks ago when we talked arenas and stuff, is that arenas are going smaller. The era of the 20,000 seat arena is gone.
Right.
So everyone's doing 18,000 seats or less. But what you're seeing is that these organizations are realizing, you know what? Yes, we have these suites for our corporate sponsors. Yes, we have our expensive seats for, the clientele that we're trying to attract to these games. But at the same time, we are making sure that we have these $20 seats where a normal fan can come and enjoy a game. And right now, the Spurs prices are so high, I don't even think you can get a $60 ticket for the nosebleeds.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. I think it's a disparity in the pricing of the tickets.
It really, really is.
And I think that's where you're running across. And so there's a little bit of a failure to be able to reach out to the certain segment of our society who can afford those tickets. And when we think about what kind of town San Antonio is mostly a middle-class town.
It is.
You know what I mean? And it's not that can't be an
I would say it's
town.
lower middle class.
Yeah, I can go with that too.
Yeah, I say lower middle class.
So when you think about who can afford those tickets, and now that the prices have gone up, with one, you're talking about adding new attractions. You're talking about the big jumbotron, the refit of the whole AT&T Center. They're talking about the stupid Kiss restaurant.
Hey, it's not stupid, buddy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's amazing.
But the point is, like, everybody's talking
You were
about.
gonna love that.
I
when
knew you
said
did that on purpose.
But the point is, everybody's talking about everything except the main product that you come to see. The actual
Exactly.
game.
And this is
there.
where we're talking
Exactly.
about how the marketing may have failed in this point, is that we forgot the fan in reality.
Okay, so I want to go over all the responses that we got on the Go Spurs Go memes Facebook page. So Everett Gonzalez says, dumbass bandwagon Spurs fans need to let the real Spurs fans have them. Thank you, Everett. Kelly Suskov says, resale prices are higher for lower level tickets this year especially. I'd love to have season tickets, and believe me, I'd use them. I try to go to as many games as possible buying single game tickets. Last season, I was able to go to quite a few games and was able to purchase lower level tickets for under $80 a ticket. This year, I haven't seen anything under $100, and I agree with sentiments above about corporations buying several seats and them not being utilized. It's kind of upsetting to see empty seats. Go Spurs. Thank you, Kelly. Sarah Huerta says, we were just talking about this on Thanksgiving. We totally think it's corporations and scalpers buying the season tickets. The corporations don't have a good enough system in place to ensure their tickets are always being used. Once it gets closer to playoffs, they will show up. It's the equivalent of bandwagon fans. And it's sad. Because of the high demand, it will drive next year's ticket prices up too, and it will be more unlikely for a local fan to be able to afford to go to a game. The boxes, the luxury suites, none of it is meant for the average San Antonian. The cost of living is slowly rising in this city, but not so much the median salary. The only time locals will be able to go to games will be if they go on a major losing streak, like how we did before Timmy. Get used to this, guys. It's going to be like this unless they reach out to their ticket holders and put pressure on them. Thank you, Sarah. Victor Jaramillo, if anybody don't want to go to the game, feel free to give them to me. I'd be glad to take care of your seats and yell for our team. Thanks, Victor. Noah Espinosa, I think a lot of companies purchase these tickets for outstanding employees and or major staff members, and some of it may be because of a schedule conflict. A lot of these games take place during the weekend, a school night for many of the kids and parents. As the season progresses, I think you'll see more seats fill up because of convenience for the purchaser. Myra Pena says, I understand not all season ticket holders can't make it for whatever reason, but they should try and resell them if it could be a win-win situation. They get some revenue back, and at the same time, a true Spurs fan can experience the game live. Gervin Williams, they only sold out on season tickets because resellers bought more than usual as a result of the Aldridge signing. They aren't flipping those tickets as easily as they thought they would. I kind of agree with Gervin there.
Yeah,
that's a good point, too.
He does come up with a really good point. Josh Paredes, I honestly think many Spurs fans are spoiled by such long-standing success and have started caring less for the regular season, especially the first few months. Frank, that's your point right there. I'm guilty of being so used to 50-plus win seasons with deep playoff runs that I don't get super excited for a November game against Philadelphia, for example. Come closer to playoff time, you better believe those seats will all be filled. Thank you, Josh. Chandra Keller-Gonzalez, they should have a day of RSVP, any unfilled seats made available to random people in the uppers. And I think they do kind of contests like that where one of the in-arena hosts like Chuck, JC, or Jorge will actually go up and bring somebody from the upper levels down. At least I know they do that for Rampage games, but I think that, yeah, exactly.
Let's bring you lower peon to the nice places.
Ryan Smith, he brought up a really good point. The season ticket holders are drinking or socializing at the bars, especially at the lower level where they're extended the main ordering area and added 2 new counters specifically for alcohol. I think he brings up a very, very good point. Millie Lev also brought up a good point. The prices are too steep for senior citizens and for those less fortunate. Therefore, we enjoy Spurs games from the comfort of our home. Go Spurs, go. Wow. So, like I said, guys, we got a lot of positive responses from people. A lot of people made some really good points about these empty seats. But we'll see what happens. I bet you we're going to continue to see this trend until it's playoff time, just like everyone else is saying. Other than that, guys, we'll be back in a bit.
Hey guys, it's Clay with Spurs in the City. In case you missed it, this week Tony Parker got the ability to name the 3 new lion cubs of the San Antonio Zoo. He named them after himself, his wife, Alexel, and their son, Josh. I got to thinking, what would Spurs fans do if they had a chance to name a lion? Let's find out in this week's Spurs and the City. Excuse me, sir, what's your name?
Roberto.
Well, how you doing, Robert? Now listen.
Roberto.
I'm so sorry. I just thought that in English, isn't it English Robert is the Roberto in Spanish?
It's Roberto.
I apologize. Roberto, are you a Spurs fan?
Yes.
Who's your favorite Spur?
Ginobili.
Well, great. You're really going to love this story. Listen, this past week, Tony Parker named 3 lion cubs at the San Antonio Zoo. If you had a lion, what would you name it, Roberto?
Robert.
I thought you told me to call you Roberto.
Robert.
Is that what you would name?
That's what I named the lion.
Ah, got it. Thank you. Hi, what's your name?
My name is Jackie.
Hi, Jackie. You a big Spurs fan?
I am. I always watch your games.
Who's your favorite player?
Ginobili and Tony Parker.
If you had a lion, what would you name the lion?
I think I'd name it Texas Tumbleweed.
Texas. Why would you name it Texas Tumbleweed?
Because it's kind of brown and round, and they roll around when they play.
All right, Texas Tumbleweed it is. All right, I'm here. I'm actually fueling up at HEB. I found 2 more Spurs fans. Hey, what's your name?
Andy Vaquera.
Andy, and what's your name?
Norma.
Norma, okay. You know about Tony Parker and the Lions. What would you name a lion? Andy, why don't you go first?
Pepe.
Pepe? Like Le Pew? Like
Pepe Le Pew, the Frenchman, man.
Why would you name a lion Pepe?
He looked a little bit like Tony, man.
Oh, I get now I get it. Yeah, I get it now. I'm not that all there tonight. And what would you name the lion?
Princess Alyssa.
Princess Alyssa. And who's Alyssa?
My granddaughter. Biggest Spurs
Hello,
fan you'll
Princess. Biggest what?
Spurs fan you'll ever meet.
We meet a lot of them. Diehards. Who's your favorite Spur?
Kawhi Leonard.
Finally, I've asked this question all day, and finally someone says Kawhi. It's always Ginobili, Parker, and Duncan. I'm with you. Thank you all so much.
Oldie, so,
Duncan's a what?
He's an oldie there.
And what's wrong with being an oldie?
Nothing, look.
Thank you so much, guys. Hi, what's your name?
Sam?
Hi, and Sam, are you a Spurs fan?
No.
Oh, you're not a Spurs fan. Well, Sam, is that your child making all that noise?
No, that's your child.
Oh, that's right. Carson, be quiet. Daddy's doing his podcast. He's not going to be. Anyway, Sam, did you see that this week Tony Parker named some lions at the zoo? Sam, if you had a chance to name a lion, what would you name it?
James Tiberius Kirk.
Why that name?
Star Trek?
Hi, what's your name?
Justin.
Now, Justin, do you have a name for one of the lions of the zoo? Think like Tony Parker. Think like the guy who used to be married to Eva Longoria. What would you name a lion?
Really couldn't even tell you. No idea.
That's a very long name. Come on, just give me one name. A lion. They're cute. They're fluffy until they try to eat your face.
Just call them all kittens.
Fine. Kitten it is. Kitten the male lion. What's your name?
I'm Chuck.
Oh, nice to meet you, Chuck. Now, Chuck, Tony Parker got to name some lions. If you could pick a name, Chuck, what would you name a lion?
It would be a lioness.
Ooh.
And I would name her Quomisha. Because that's my imaginary, fictitious, made-up girlfriend name. She can't be tamed. She's fierce.
You like them wild. Okay, well, Quonisha it is.
Quomisha.
Oh,
Get it right.
Quomisha.
She would be angry.
Hi, sir. What's your name?
My name's Todd.
Hey, Todd. Now, listen. If you could name 3 lions of the San Antonio Zoo, what would you name them?
Well, I'm glad you asked. That's actually a topic that's very near and dear to my heart. As a giant fan of the TV show Survivor, which is getting bumped back to midnight because we need to watch a pre-game show on television, I'd probably go ahead and name those 3 lions: Stephen Curry, Chris Paul, and Russell Westbrook.
But Tony Parker from the Spurs, he named the lions. That's why I was asking. You're not a Spurs fan, then I take it.
I'm a Survivor fan.
Well, there you go. What our Spurs fans, and, well, some people that maybe don't like the Spurs too much, would name the new lions at the San Antonio Zoo. For Spurs in the City, go Spurs, go Memes correspondent Clay saying, have a great week. I'm now going to send it back to the guys in studio. But don't forget, Spurs fans, anytime you're on the streets, you're in the city, don't forget to yell out, go Spurs, go!
Coach Pop, staring from the bench, great is your wisdom. Your teams are great, professional and poised both at home as well as on the road. Give us each game our pick and rolls, and forgive Manu's mysteries, as we forgive Tim and Tony for their missed free throws. And lead us not to the draft lottery, but deliver us again to the playoffs. For thine are the wins, the championships, and the rings, forever and ever. Amen.
And that song means it's time to talk football, because yesterday was in fact Saturday. We had an amazing day of college football. I don't even know where to start. Jack, where do you want to start, buddy?
Oh, man, rivalry week. You got to love it. Let's start back on on Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Those Longhorns. You got the Texas sweatshirt on. But,
okay, that's enough about the Longhorns.
yeah, fair enough.
So UTSA.
Exactly. Jeez.
You know what? And I'll talk Aggies for 2 seconds because
Meh.
it's been the same thing every loss. It's our defense can play,
Right.
but someone wears your offense.
Right.
Like, I don't know. And yeah, they're going to fire Spavital. Fine. He can go coach North Texas or wherever that's going to happen. But for everything that we've given someone, and he's gotten everything he wanted.
Well, yeah, you got to produce something.
And, 2 5-star quarterbacks, 5-star wide receivers all over the place. You got to be able to produce. I don't know if the answer is we stop playing in southeastern, northern Oklahoma in like week 2 and week 3 and actually play some real people. So when we get to the meat of the schedule, we're good.
We're good.
But yeah, I don't know. It's frustrating.
Okay, so Aggies lose yesterday.
Right.
What happens to Les Miles and LSU? They did lose to the LSU Tigers last night. So what happens to Les Miles, Jack, in your opinion?
LSU saved his job.
Yeah, they said at the end.
Athletic director came out after the game and said LSU is or Les Miles is our coach, and he will be our coach next year.
Interesting.
So I think
It's called reading.
I think it was one of those things. I don't know if the meeting happened during halftime, but the outpour of support that school showed, I mean, everything from on game day to pregame to during the game they carried him off the field.
Yeah, I saw that he was carried off the field. I also saw like a little press conference that had all the LSU like execs in suits.
Yeah.
And there was memes going up yesterday when you try to fire somebody but it doesn't work.
I honestly think 3 hours before the game he was gone.
Yeah,
and I think
exactly.
For a coaching carousel, which I know we're going to talk about in just a sec,
Right.
That has a lot of good openings. I think that really would have been the cream of the crop right there, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so what else happened? Let's see. Iowa State undefeated. They are going to go into the Big Ten championship against Michigan State, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Let's see. TCU beat Baylor. That surprised me. I wasn't expecting that, but whatever. Let's see what else is going on.
Clemson won.
Right.
Beat South Carolina, and actually a pretty close game.
That was close, 37-32. Bama beat Auburn in the Iron Bowl.
Right. They play Florida.
They're going to play
isn't
Florida.
Even going to be close.
Right.
Because Florida couldn't score against Florida State.
Oklahoma did destroy Oklahoma State 58-23, and supposedly everyone's saying that basically punched Oklahoma's ticket to go into the playoffs, that they're the first one to get a seed.
Correct.
But is that true? I was
some crazy stuff has to happen for them not to.
Well, for one thing, Notre Dame had to lose.
Woohoo! And they lost.
I think with
Suck
the
it,
Notre Dame
Irish.
loss, I think Oklahoma is punched a ticket, and basically everyone's playing to get in. So Clemson has North Carolina in the ACC championship game. Alabama, of course, as we said, plays Florida in the SEC championship, and then Iowa and Michigan State, which right now, in the last playoff poll, Iowa was 4, Michigan State was 5.
Interesting.
And so you think, the winner of, as long as those 3 teams win, being Clemson, Alabama, and then whoever wins Iowa between Iowa and Michigan State, they're in. If Alabama loses, Clemson loses, then it gets a little funny. You could have an Ohio State kind of sneak in. They're still
Right.
11-1. Stanford got a big win over Notre Dame. I think they play Cal. Who do they play? USC.
USC.
Yeah,
in the
they play
Pac-10
USC.
championship.
If-
Pac-12. Sorry.
If they can win that, they might have a shot in. But you got to love Alabama and Clemson. Control your own destiny.
Okay. All right. So that's basically college football. Let's talk a little bit about the coaching carousel that's going to start happening.
Ooh, goodness.
So I know we were talking yesterday when we thought Les Miles was going to be fired, Jack.
Right.
We were saying, Chip Kelly to LSU. And I kind of told you I still kind of feel like Chip Kelly is going to be fired by the Eagles. And he is probably going to end up at USC. And I still kind of go with that I think that he's going to be hired. He's going to be the new coach at
Isn't
USC.
that a great job to walk into, though?
Oh, amazing.
And you're following Lane Kiffin and Steve Sarkisian.
Right, exactly.
You can do no wrong.
You could do no
as
wrong.
long as you're not drunk or crazy, you're good.
Which they were.
You've also got Miami.
True.
Which that's a really... It'll be interesting to see what happens, because for as much money as that school has, being in South Florida and all the alumni, good Lord, they don't give any money to the athletic department.
No, they don't. And that's, the rumors are still going on there about Charlie Strong wanting to listen to Miami. Like, that rumor won't die down. I don't know why.
He's only said no like 3 times.
Right.
publicly,
I mean, but that rumor keeps coming up. And so it'd be interesting to see what happens there because I'm curious what happens to Texas right now with them doing so horrible. I still think Strong comes back next year. I still think the Longhorns will do really bad next year again, and then he'll be fired.
I agree.
I think he'll make it through his contract and then be done, or at least make it 3 years of his contract because I think he has a 5-year deal, if I'm not mistaken. And then it'll be interesting to see who the Longhorns can get. If I was Texas, I would say fire him now and go after Chip Kelly. Because Chip Kelly is an amazing college football coach, but we know college game does not translate well all the time to the NFL, and that's why he has such a struggling team, a team that does not respect him in Philadelphia.
Virginia Tech did announce yesterday that they were going to offer Memphis head coach Justin Fuente.
Ooh.
He was one of the Memphis has been doing really well this year.
Yeah, they did do well.
South Carolina, of course, has an opening.
I forgot about that. I forgot
with
Spurs
him
gone.
stepping down. Also, Missouri has an opening. Minnesota has already hired their interim Tracy Clays. I think that's how you say his last name, Clays.
Mm-hmm.
Illinois already hired their guy. Iowa State's open. Syracuse is open. North Texas. But you would think North Texas could have a decent program being in Dallas, heart of the city.
Right.
They've got decent, facilities and everything. I was reading about it yesterday, and the guys made a funny quote. It's like, if you're in Texas, yes, you have to keep up with everyone else building facilities, great athletic facilities, football, practice field, locker room, whatever. But in Texas, you're also going against high schools. Like some of the high school facilities would be like, Idaho.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Maybe not Nebraska, but some of those crazy ones too. Hawaii also has a coaching vacancy.
Oh
no, they hired a Nevada offensive coordinator. That's a nice job.
That's a nice job there because you're not really expected to win or do anything.
The rumor that
live
I heard,
on an island is pretty much what you have to do.
And if this happens, it's going to totally shake up everything.
What?
I
was like, are you just building suspense?
Do we end the podcast?
Indianapolis Colts been struggling this year.
Yes.
Quarterback issues. I think they're going to fire their coach.
Okay.
And they're going to go after Saban.
Interesting. Do you think he takes it?
I think he does. I think he goes back. I think he learned from Miami. He knows he's going to need a quarterback, which I think he's got a quarterback in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So
I know
what does that mean for college then? More of that roulette wheel.
Because Bama will throw some money to get a replacement.
And they'll get whoever they want.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, think of all the recruiting and everything that Saban has down in Alabama right now. They'll be able to get whoever they want. Maybe they want Charlie Strong. Go ahead, Frank.
No.
All right, I think that's a good segue to go into the NFL. So how can we not talk NFL with the disaster that happened
You can't talk
on
about
Thanksgiving?
the Cowboys. Not without him.
Tony Romo is done, as is the Cowboys season. I think they are completely done for the season. There is no comeback. There is no nothing for them. It is over.
Do you draft a quarterback? I think they have to.
Hey, go ahead.
No.
I was going to say, do you draft a quarterback? I don't know. Right now, with the stuff that's happening with Cleveland and Manziel and all that stuff, you could tell he wants to get traded. I mean, with all this stuff, it's obviously not working out. You don't go from, passing 300 yards, those very, very attractive stats that he's been putting out lately, and then all of a sudden make this video and everything, and then have your own coaching staff say, no, you're going to be third string.
Right.
Jerry Jones does not care about that thing, anything like that. He's already proven that.
You could beat your girlfriend up, and they're going to keep you on the Cowboys. Exactly, they're going to keep you on the Cowboys.
So, you don't have to worry about that. They are going to be the Cowboys. The other thing I would say is maybe even Houston up there, but I think it's going to be centered around Johnny Manziel. Because you have basically everybody who you have him come back to Texas.
Oh my God, it would be crazy if he came back here.
It would be, and I would say don't dismiss that because after Romo fell up there, I don't think his career is over. You just re-injured a broken clavicle. When it fully heals and everything, it should be fine. Almost.
Yeah, but he hasn't been healthy in a while, though. Yeah. It's constant injuries with him. And this is the NFL. Once you get hurt, it's chronic injuries, and then you're done. And
how many injuries has he had? His spine, his ribs, his.
You kind of need your spine. Exactly. And that's my point is okay, When does Romo finally say, you know what, I need to hang it up? I'm done.
It's just not working.
Because,
you
know
don't
what I mean?
have it at this point.
He's like the Black Knight from Monty Python. Like, it's just a flesh wound. He just keeps going. But I really think that he's done. Like, I really do think that even if he was healthy, he's going to start the season again. He's going to get hurt again. He just is. I mean, he is Mr. Glass in the NFL. And I think that it's time for Romo to just hang it up. So for the Cowboys, I do think that they're going to somehow try to go after Johnny Manziel. My question, though, is Johnny the answer? Because I don't think that he is.
Absolutely not.
He is not the answer. But again, we've discussed this before, and I always say this on Overtime Sports. Jerry Jones doesn't care if the team wins because he's making money anyways.
People are still seeing the games regardless of whether or not they're Cowboy fans.
Exactly.
You put a Johnny Manziel in there,
oh
it
my
doesn't
God, it's
matter.
like you put the rock star in the center of a team. Just imagine how many jerseys they'll sell with Manziel on there.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. It's like he may not even be that good. Yes, he's putting all these numbers, but the majority of them are all from broken plays. And that's not what you want as a quarterback.
Right, exactly. Jack, I want to get your opinion on this too because I know that there are a lot of A&M fans that I talk to. They kind of say, Johnny's a good quarterback. He just has a bad situation in Cleveland. And I don't see that way. I just don't think that he really is that good of a quarterback. I just don't think he's well for the NFL game. So what are your thoughts on that, Jack?
I totally agree with that statement. I think he was, obviously a terrific playmaker in college where his athleticism could be the difference playing teams that were slower than he was. But in the NFL, everyone's fast. He's too short. And he doesn't have the work ethic to make up for it, like a Drew Brees.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of thing. But yeah, I was surprised that he was drafted as high as he was. He's pretty much done what I thought he was going to do. Struggled. I don't think he's the answer in Dallas. I looked it up a little bit. The quarterbacks coming out in the draft this upcoming year, if Dallas wants to go through this. Number one, the quarterback at Memphis, Paxton Lynch. He's 6'7", 245. That's nice.
Yeah.
You got Jared Goff at Cal.
I never thought he was a good quarterback, Goff.
Connor Cook at Michigan State. Not bad. Cardale Jones probably coming out of Ohio State.
Yeah.
Christian Hackenberg at Penn State. All these guys 6'3", 6'4", 6'5".
Big
Jacoby
quarterbacks.
Brissett at NC State. Wentz at North Dakota State. Patrick Towles at Kentucky.
It's going to be that the good quarterbacks are going to be the ones that you've never heard of. That's
Yeah.
usually how it turns out. The ones
Brady.
that, yeah, exactly.
No one knew who he was.
Yeah,
when he
no
got
one knew
drafted.
that name.
Dak Prescott.
But and here's the thing: is like, are you going to be able to bring any of these quarterbacks into a Cowboys offense that has no means to nurture a quarterback?
Well,
up
but
there?
you do. Like you've got Tony Romo for maybe another year or two.
Okay.
And I think that's all you want.
I
You
think
spend
you're
a
right.
second or a third round pick on a quarterback. So you don't even have to get the big name guys. You don't have to pay him a bunch of money. But you bring the guy in, you sit him on the bench behind Romo, and let him.
Well, he's
learn
probably
for a
gonna
year or
play.
two. Yeah, and then by end of the season, whatever, he gets a couple games. He's good.
All right. So let's just kind of run through this real quick. So, of course, Carolina destroyed Dallas. The big game is the Patriots, the undefeated Patriots, going to Denver. That's tonight at 7:30. I still think Patriots win in that one. Any other interesting games this week?
I think the Steelers-Seahawks is an interesting game. The AFC is a total mess
Oh,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Besides the division leaders right now, and in the AFC South, you actually have two. Both the Indianapolis Colts and the Houston Texans are tied at 5-5.
Ooh.
But besides that, there's only say the Texans are out right now. They're still a wild card team.
Yeah.
Because only one team, the Steelers, has a better record than they are.
That's just crazy.
You've got
That's absolutely
That's this
crazy.
year's
let me
NFL.
bring it up real quick.
You've got Washington and the Giants, facing for.
Oh,
for
and that's a big
leader up
thing
there,
too. Yeah.
And they play this weekend. Do
They play this week, yeah. It's the Giants at Washington, and I think Washington will take that game because I think they're just playing a little bit better.
I'd say Giants.
You think Giants?
Yeah, I've got nothing behind that. Just like the Giants. That's about it.
Eli Manning, maybe? Who knows? But yeah, so you got the Bengals at 8-2, the Broncos. Well, the Patriots, of course, the Bengals, the Broncos. Then the Steelers are 6-4. The Bills, the Chiefs, the Colts, the Texans, the Jets are all 5-5.
That's just
And then you've got
nuts.
the Jaguars, the Raiders, and the Dolphins at 4-6. Like,
Wow.
who knows what's going to happen in the AFC playoff picture?
And we'll see what happens. All right, guys, that's football. We will be back in a bit with On the Fly. And now it's time for TV themes with Buddy.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we are going to be playing the game for TV themes. So the way this game works is that everybody's going to use their little buzzers.
Oh, like this?
Or, thank you very much. And they're going to take a guess. They're going to buzz themselves in when they're ready, and if they get it wrong, they're going to buzz themselves out.
Sounds good to me.
Here we go.
Ready? Okay, so playing is Jack the intern, myself, and Frank the producer.
My first game.
Oh.
Price is right.
All righty, go away. First.
We're waiting.
Hogan's Family?
Yeah. So, anybody know who was in this show?
Valerie Harper was there first, and then she got kicked out, and it was Sandy Duncan.
Sandy Duncan was in it, but there's one other person in it who's big.
Jason Bateman.
There we go.
Yeah.
Jason
Oh,
Bateman.
that's what it was.
All right, there we go. Let's break
Okay.
this down. Now we got Frank 1, Ray nothing, and Jack nothing. All right. Next one.
Is that Silver Spoons?
No.
Oh, damn it. Oh, I know exactly what that is. It's going to give it away right now.
Oh, who's it?
That was Jack.
Jack.
Charles and Charles.
Yes. That was such a slow-ass response by Frank and Jack.
Something wrong with my buzzer.
Okay.
What? Okay.
Next one, here we go. If you guys hit this, I will be really impressed. Give us some time.
Look at what's happened to me.
I know the song, but I can't.
I can't believe it myself.
As long as we got each other.
On top of the world, it could have been somebody else. Believe it or not,
Okay, we'll come back to this later.
I'm just...
American Hero or something. Oh, I got it wrong.
Wait. What? It's close.
Something American Hero.
I'll take it. It's,
Oh.
it's greatest American.
Greatest American Hero.
Oh, you can't take that.
No,
He didn't say
that's,
that.
neutral, no. Push.
All right.
Push.
Next
Okay.
one. Here
Everybody
we go.
gets their money.
So we got Frank 2, Jack 1, Ray
0. I'm really bad at this. It's all right.
Who's the boss?
God, it's so
Damn.
This is not fair.
The majority of my childhood I was spending watching TV.
I say now I get it. Now I know that's his
Okay,
boss.
so who was in this show?
Tony Danza
and
Alyssa Milano.
Milano.
Hell yeah.
All right, going forward.
And that kid.
And then that kid that nobody talks about. Okay, so now I'm going to go to something hard now. Here we go. Next
Okay. Like these were all easy.
Well, I'm not the kind to kiss and tell. Nothing seen with color.
Filled with my dad.
Never been with
Man, now I know how you felt last week, Frank.
I've been on fire with Sally Field, gone past with the girl named Bo. But somehow they just don't.
Wait, let it go.
It can't be the end credits of. No, I don't know. Dukes of Hazzard.
No.
I know it's not.
We'll come back to this one.
Oh.
All right, next one. I'll go with something easy.
Really? Am I gonna have to buzz this in?
Go ahead. I don't know what it is.
Perfect Strangers. We're gonna have to rewrite the segment.
These are 2010.
Cousin Larry.
I know. Who needs?
Awful song, by the way.
It really is an awful song.
I'm like, who needs girls? I got TV.
Okay.
That
let's go with
explains so
something
much.
that
It
everybody
really
knows this one.
does.
Okay, Frank, you're out of this one. Okay, we'll leave this to Jack and Ray. Here we go.
I hate the pressure.
Do you know this one, Frank?
I don't. What?
It sounds like a cartoon. It's not?
We'll leave that one out for now.
Okay, moving on.
Okay, moving on. Here we go.
I'm gonna win this anyway.
Yeah, you pretty much won.
Okay, here we go.
What did you guys do at kids?
Jack.
Is that MacGyver? MacGyver?
Very good.
Wow.
I watched it on
Yay.
Netflix like 2 weeks
I
ago.
was like, wow.
Yeah.
See, I wouldn't have gotten into
yeah.
that before.
Okay,
Oh, I missed
Good
that
job,
hair.
Jack.
I'm out of my hair after that.
Okay, here we go. Next one. Now this one I cut up because it was way too easy. So.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
Frank.
Magnum PI.
Wrong.
Are you serious?
Frank.
That would be the A team.
Wait, I got the That does sound like
You know, the problem is I never watched the A-Team. I never saw it.
I'm my dad's child. I had to watch that, the Hulk and everything.
Okay. Yes, that's the one, yeah.
Oh. See, okay.
Because if I had put that at the end, you would know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ray would have gotten it, but me.
Okay.
Doubted, but
Let's
whatever.
See if anybody knows this one. Okay. Zebra. Okay. Here we go.
Manimal. You are. I'm not playing this.
Oh, I know that one.
Okay, go.
That's Night Court.
Very good. Interesting side note here. Do you know who wrote this?
John Williams.
The guy who wrote the music for Law and Order, Mike Post.
Oh.
Yeah, I would have never known that.
Oh, post. Got
Nobody
it.
cares.
Okay,
here we go.
next.
All right. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna go something easy. So breaking it. All right, here we go. Ready? There we go.
Wow.
Moving forward. No, Frank. You can't guess.
If you know it, Frank, do it. It's okay. I don't know it.
Can't recognize this?
No. Do you recognize
It's
it?
on the tip of my tongue.
Wait. Here we go.
Yeah, were your eyes even open at this age?
All right, Frank. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Frank. I don't know what it is.
It's got to be Quantum Leap.
Very good.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I never saw Quantum Leap.
That's right.
Oh man,
Damn, I guess I really didn't watch TV when I was younger.
something I'm good at.
We played outside.
I did too. That's the amazing thing.
His TV was outside.
Okay, I'll give it. Okay, here's a difficult
They wouldn't let me
This is a
in.
difficult one. Frank's not gonna know this. I didn't even know this.
I have no idea. Do you know?
Go ahead, Frank.
Okay,
You
it's
need to buzz in. Buzz in.
oh, I'm sorry.
There you go. Go ahead.
It could be one of two things. Okay, first is Little House on the Prairie. Okay, could it be? Okay.
Is it Beauty and the Beast?
Sweet Jesus, no.
Sweet Jesus?
No.
Oh.
All right. Okay, what's the second one then?
Okay, the other thing I would say is Lonesome Dove.
No, actually.
Oh, darn
Okay,
it.
I know that you guys will never guess.
Okay, what was it?
Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman.
Oh, yeah, I
that
would have
been
never
my
gotten
third
that.
guess.
Not at all.
Shut up.
All right.
I should just read it off your screen.
Okay.
That is true.
I hope you're not reading this.
No, I can't read.
Okay, moving forward. Next one.
This is horrible.
Ray is doing awful in this.
I am really doing a horrible at
Here we
this.
go.
Now the world don't move to the beat of just one drum. What time do
Really?
I don't know what it is.
Wow, buddy, you should have played this. Here.
Okay, go.
Different strokes.
Strokes.
Is that really different strokes?
Right here.
Oh, yeah. Okay. See?
Oh,
yeah.
this is yeah. Okay.
That's what I was saying.
Anyway, all right.
Okay, so we will go to.
This is so horrible.
You guys suck.
Something really easy. Here we go. Ready?
How dare you not?
I hate when you say it's easy because I don't know.
If you
Okay.
don't know this, you should be
I know.
shot. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
That's Knight Rider.
You're on the board.
Hey, I got 2 points.
Use the drop.
drop.
Okay, let me see how many I got left. Okay, let's see if anybody knows this.
2 more.
We've got 2 more to go.
Because
Okay.
everyone sucks at this game.
Except for Frank.
Okay, I won't be surprised if people know this.
I'm winning a lot of things.
That's All in the Family, isn't it? Oh, are you serious? Oh, it's Mama's Family. I knew it was family something. Vicki Lawrence was the bomb.
All right, move forward. Okay, last one.
Okay. That's Alf.
Very good.
Oh, congratulations, Jack.
So the final score is Frank 10,000, Ray 4, Jack 2. Congratulations. Thank you for playing our game.
And you win nothing.
You win absolutely nothing.
Oh, I'm going to win tonight.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of podcast number 14. Want to give a shout out to the best damn crew in all of podcasts. Buddy the engineer, Frank the producer, Jack the intern. Gentlemen, thank you for spending your Sunday morning with me. We will be back next week for podcast number 15. Thank you guys so much for following us, of course, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube. This podcast is available on iTunes and on SoundCloud. And we will talk to you guys very, very soon. And as always, go Spurs, go!
Memes.